Some names are not buried in history. They live inside fear. Some people do not die. They turn into stories that are only told in whispers. There was a time in Colombia when, if a phone rang at night, people would stop breathing. Because on the other end, it could be Pablo Escobar, a man who bought the law, used human lives as tools, and turned death into a message. This is not just a story about drugs. This is the story of a man who took an entire nation hostage. And the most dangerous question is this: if he was only a criminal, why does the world still tremble at his name? Rio Negro, Colombia. A farmer welcomed the birth of a son. His name was Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. He was neither rich nor powerful, but there was a strange silence in his eyes. From childhood, he had already understood one truth. The world is not run by justice, it is run by power. As a teenager, he sold fake diplomas, smuggled cigarettes, and even stole gravestones to sell them again. These crimes were small, but the intention behind them was dangerous. Pablo did not want to become rich. He wanted to become a fear that no one would dare challenge. In the 1970s, cocaine spread across America like poison. Where others saw danger, Pablo smiled. He bought planes, created sea routes, and even used submarines. There came a time when 15 tons of cocaine were reaching the United States every single day. There was so much money that warehouses overflowed, cash began to rot, and rats ate banknotes. He buried millions and later forgot where. His name was listed among the richest people in the world. But Pablo knew one thing: money gives power. Fear gives control. Pablo followed only one law: plata o plomo, silver or lead. Judges were bribed, police officers were bought, and those who refused were buried. Car bombs exploded, airplanes were destroyed in midair, and politicians were assassinated in public. In just 1 year, more than 3,000 bodies fell. But the most terrifying thing was this: people stopped speaking. Silence became the most dangerous sound. Children were taught never to say Pablo's name out loud. In the slums of Medellin, Pablo built houses, schools, roads, and football fields. People began to call him their savior. He gave money. But he also bought loyalty. This was not kindness. It was a silent takeover. He won hearts so the state would lose. Pablo did not want to live in hiding. He wanted power within the law. He entered Congress, a drug trafficker, making laws. It was a warning bell for Colombia. Soon his past was exposed, and he was removed. That day, Pablo made a decision. If the state does not accept me, the state will never know peace. Pablo surrendered himself, but on his own terms. He would build his own prison. La Catedral had nightclubs, jacuzzis, and personal guards. It was not a prison. It was a place where Pablo was free, even while imprisoned. When the government tried to move him elsewhere, that very night, Pablo disappeared. Fear had returned. Colombian forces, the United States, and a secret group, Los Pep. This was not a war of law. It was a war of fear, against an even greater fear. Pablo's associates were killed, one by one. His empire began to collapse. The king was left alone. Pablo was in hiding, constantly changing locations, making phone calls knowing that every call could become someone's last breath. December 2nd, 1993. The rooftops of Medellin. Gunshots echoed. Some say the police killed him, while others believe he shot himself. Because Pablo believed one thing: I will decide how my story ends. More than 25,000 people attended his funeral. Why mourn a killer? Because Pablo was not just a man. He was a system, a mirror, a warning. Pablo Escobar died, but the fear he created is still breathing. Kill one king, and another will rise. The question is not why Pablo died, the question is the world still creating men like him? Follow and subscribe to Dark Secret History, because the next story will be even more dangerous.